If only you spoke Ovitos. Welcome, fellow Kiss fans. Welcome to It's All for You Demons, celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. Today, not so much fun. You ever had one of those days where you make a blunder, where you really just botch something? I had one of those days today. Nothing serious, but aggravating nonetheless. I made, a long time ago, a really super cool video regarding the Kiss 1978 puzzles. In this video, myself, my friend Dan, my friend Todd, we actually unboxed for the first time since 1978 the Paul Stanley puzzle, actually cracking it open for the first time. And I thought I'd be real funny and coy in that video and play the Raiders of the Lost Ark soundtrack on my album, on my stereo, behind, while we were cutting the box open. The music from when they opened the Ark would be playing. They found me and they blocked that video, and sometime between making that video and kind of forgetting about it, I deleted that video off my hard drive. So there was no way for me to just go back and remove the music and keep the video. So today, blunder free, we are going to talk the 1978 Jigsaw puzzles. Today, I'm speaking Jovitos. She knows I am. Of the 70s Jigsaw puzzles, there are 6 in total. The first being the Destroyer Jigsaw puzzle, and the second being the Love Gun Jigsaw puzzle, both published by APC, American Publishing Corps. And then you had the 4 individual solo Jigsaw puzzles, and these were produced by Milton Bradley, and of course were Ace Frehley, Paul Stanley, Peter Criss, and Gene Simmons. And I think what I love the most about the Jigsaw puzzles is my favorite era of the band is 1978 to 1980. And the Jigsaw puzzles for me really signify that moment when the band leapt from the record store shelves onto the toy store shelves. Something about the puzzles that just reminds me of running errands with your mom or your grandma in the late 70s and stopping at shops like TG&Y or Ben Franklin, Kmart, Woolworths, stores like that, you know, begging to go down the toy aisle and stumbling upon beauties like these. And what fascinates me the most about these are looking at the boxes from the back and imagining these boxes sitting on a toy store shelf and walking down an aisle and your eye being caught by that bright orange and yellow logo. And if you were a Kiss fan in 1978, seeing that and just having your heart skip a beat and getting a closer look and imagining, man, you could spend your summer afternoon day putting together a 200-piece Kiss Jigsaw puzzle. That is fun. Now, becoming a Kiss fan in 1988, I of course missed out on the toy store genre. However, I was born in 74, so I grew up in the late 70s and was a huge Star Wars fan. To experience the toy madness of Star Wars, I can only imagine what it would have been like had I been a Kiss fan in the late 70s. But this was my first Kiss magazine, and this really served as my Bible, per se, on Kiss merchandise. And pictured in this magazine were the puzzles, the Ace Frehley puzzle and the Love Gun puzzle. And I remember seeing those when I was a freshman in high school and thinking, man, if I could ever find those, would be the greatest day in history. And fortunately enough, you go down the rabbit hole far enough, you learn the ins and outs of the collecting game. My friend Dan and I would visit a store in St. Joe called T&T Variety, I've actually filmed a video of me returning to where that store was. I'll post a link at the bottom of this. But we made friends with the owner of T&T Variety, and one day he found this. And so I headed down to T&T Variety with the wind on my heels and purchased the Gene Simmons puzzle. He had it in complete condition. All the pieces were in the box. I'm not sure if he actually counted. He did. I remember him telling me all the pieces are there, and the box was not that beat up. And believe it or not, I bought it for $7.50. This would have been in probably 1993, 94. $7.50 for a Gene Simmons puzzle in the box, complete. It's pretty badass. Although the lucky kid in 1978 only paid $1.75. But these puzzles look so amazing put together. Like, the box does not do it justice. The picture pops put together in a puzzle, and I really need to get these framed, because this one especially was glued together in 1994, and it's beginning to become very loose, especially in the middle. So I have to be very ginger when I hold these. And what I love the most about the Gene Simmons puzzle is, if you do your history and do your comparison, this is a photo from Phantom of the Park. This is a photo from the Chamber of Thrills. Barry Levine did a lot of photos with Gene from the Chamber of Thrills, and you can match up some of his other photos with like an axe on the wall and Dracula's coffin. But this is from that Chamber of Thrills set from Kiss Meets the Phantom, and I'm such a huge Phantom fan. Makes me love this picture even more. Now, I cannot be the only collector around who drags his feet on getting frames. Like, I have needed to frame these solo shot jigsaw puzzles for a very long time. Years. 1994 is when I put the Gene one together. I've needed to frame these forever, but I just hate buying frames. Is it because they're expensive, or is it because you just feel like you're buying air? Like, I feel like I'm buying nothing. Even though something cool is gonna end up going in those frames, I really feel like I'm spending big dollars on nothing. The next puzzle to enter my collection was Peter, and it was purchased off of eBay. And Peter was pretty beat up. The box is pretty beat to hell. And Peter did not contain all of his pieces. Peter was only $1.57 back in the day. But again, Peter did not contain all of his pieces. Again, I'm not a collector that collects for worth or value or mint in box. In fact, my favorite saying is non-mint only means more fun, because some kid had a lot of fun with this in the 70s, and their mom's vacuum cleaner ate a lot of the pieces from the Peter jigsaw puzzle. But I do love so much the Peter photo with those black cats. Nothing against Peter, but we all know he had some issues with ego and drugs in the late 70s, so I imagine him having to deal with the fear, perhaps, and unruly animals. He was probably a bear to be around that day. That's just my personal thought. I have a feeling he was probably a pain in the ass that day. Probably argued a lot and wanted to get the hell out of there and away from these animals. I could be completely wrong. They could have been completely cool, and it could have been a magical experience. But every time I see this photo, I always think, I bet that wasn't the most fun day in the photo studio. The next puzzle to come into my collection was Ace, and it was another eBay find, this in much better condition, and I do remember having to pay quite a bit more for Ace than any of the other puzzles. One of the things I love about the Ace picture, love the Love Gun costume, always, but I love this set. This set is very Star Trek, it's very Phantom of the Park, and I love to imagine where on earth is this set today. If I had any woodworking skills or electronic skills or industrial art skills in general to my ability, I would try to recreate this computer panel for my basement. That would be so much fun to make this and have it be in your basement and people would be like, what is that? It's Ace Frehley's spaceship control. But again, another reason why I have to get these framed. Look how cool it looks put together. Ace had all of his pieces and was a joy to put together and glue. And it just looks amazing put together. I love how the picture pops off of that box. It is like the coolest poster ever. And here you have the puzzle that started all of my woes regarding the puzzle video. This puzzle was a gift from my friend Todd, who found this puzzle at a very cool record store in Dallas, and he bought it for me out of the goodness of his heart. And it was sealed, and I was blown away. I was very grateful, and I told him, we're going to open this together. And so him, Todd, myself, my friend Dan, we all got together and we opened this Paul Stanley puzzle together. And as you can see on the box, sealed to prevent lost pieces. And it was sealed until we opened it up and foolishly played the Raiders of the Lost Ark music while doing so. But still a fun piece and another amazing picture, amazing poster, amazing jigsaw puzzle pops from that picture. And I cannot thank my friend Todd enough. It's not every day that you get to put together an actual 1978 Kiss jigsaw puzzle that has never been opened. And that was a very cool experience, even though because of my own naivety, it's no longer documented on film. It was a great experience and a great night hanging out with your friends, talking Kiss, and experiencing the fun a kid would have had in 1978. And last little tidbit I love about these jigsaw puzzles, and I do not know why they chose the order they did, but the jigsaw puzzles are actually in an order, and they are each numbered. Ace is 1, Paul is 2, Peter is 3, and Gene is 4. And taking away the numbering of the order of the jigsaw puzzles, I had actually heard a rumor that Milton Bradley produced these jigsaw puzzles in the same fashion that Casablanca would later produce the solo albums. That there was the most made of Gene, next in production would have been Paul, Ace, and the least made of Peter. So maybe that is why Ace and Peter are harder to come by and fetch a higher dollar. Thank you for hanging with me today. Thank you for waxing nostalgia about the Kiss jigsaw puzzles once again. And I love these pieces. They just remind me of that Toy Store era, and they remind me of Phantom of the Park, especially the Gene tie-in with the old man's Chamber of Thrills. I love that, and these jigsaw puzzles are beautiful. They look like miniature giant posters, if that makes sense. And they just truly, once put together, deserve to be in frames. Even my Peter one without all the pieces. I need to just put action to my words. go get frames, go buy some air, and put them on my wall. Thank you for hanging with me today. If you are new to this channel, hit subscribe. I'll always have something fun to wax about, to talk about. Thank you for hanging with me. Take care. Be safe. Never stop celebrating the fun of being a Kiss fan. Never stop. Oh. Never stop. Never stop loving your animals. Take care. Be safe. I'll talk to you soon. She's leaving me. Nah. She's just turning around. How cool would it have been in the 80s if Motley Crue would have merchandised the way Kiss did? Think about that. Motley Crue jigsaw puzzles. The power of Satan in your hand.